Do you struggle to speak up? Like you have something to say, but when it's time to actually say it, you freeze, or it comes out watered down, or you just wait too long and then the moment passes. Maybe you rehearse what you want to say over and over in your head, but when you open your mouth, nothing comes out or it comes out wrong. Maybe you find yourself agreeing with people even when you don't actually agree, going along with the things you don't want to do, staying quiet when you have something to contribute. And it's not that you don't have thoughts or opinions, you do, but accessing them in the moment feels impossible. Or maybe they're there, but they don't feel legitimate. Like your thoughts aren't as valid as everyone else's. You need to be absolutely certain before you can speak. Like you need permission to take up space. So you stay quiet or you say what you think you're supposed to say, or you wait to see what everyone else thinks first, and then you form your opinion around that. And you tell yourself it's because you need to be more confident. You need to stop overthinking. You need to find your voice. But here's the thing, you don't have a confidence problem. You have an internal reference problem. So what does that mean? An internal reference point is a stable sense that what you think, feel, and want is valuable and legitimate regardless of what others think. But you don't have that. Instead, you have an external reference point. Your sense of worth depends on other people accepting you. Before you can speak, you don't trust that your perspective is valuable enough to share. You don't believe that your thoughts are important enough to take up space with. After you speak, if you manage to, you don't trust that what you said was valid unless someone else confirms it. You immediately need reassurance. Was that okay? Did I say something wrong? You can't just say something and let it exist. You need external validation to feel like it was worth saying at all. And that's not a confidence issue. Your worth isn't anchored inside you, it's anchored in whether others accept you. And this likely happened because at some point, something shifted in how you understood your own worth. You learned that your value, your belonging, your sense of being okay, all of that depended on other people accepting you. Not in an obvious way necessarily, not like someone explicitly told you, you're only worthy if we approve of you, but through experience, through the way love and attention and validation showed up or it didn't. Whatever the specifics, you internalized a message. I'm acceptable when others accept me. I matter when others validate me. I belong when I fit in. Your sense of worth became organized around external validation because that's what the environment taught you. That's what kept you connected to the people you needed. So now you don't have an internal sense of I'm inherently valuable. You have a conditional sense of I'm valuable when others see me as valuable. And that creates a problem because if your belonging depends on being accepted, you need to know, am I accepted right now? So you become hyper attuned to other people. You're constantly scanning, reading micro expressions, sensing shifts in tone, picking up on tension in the room that others don't seem to notice. You can feel when someone's mood changes before they say a word. You sense when you've said something that landed wrong. You're aware of every reaction, every silence, every subtle signal of approval or disapproval. And this isn't a skill you developed on purpose, it's a survival mechanism. When your worth depends on others accepting you, you need to track whether you're still okay, whether you're about to be rejected. So your nervous system learned to be vigilant, to monitor, to stay aware of how you're being received. But the problem is that all that awareness is pointed outward. So you're so focused on tracking everyone else's reactions that you lose track of your own experience. You're so busy scanning for signs of acceptance or rejection that you can't access what you actually think, feel, or want. You become hyper aware of others, but disconnected from yourself. And that's why you can't just be more confident or stop overthinking. The problem isn't that you're scared to speak. The problem is that you don't have an internal reference point to speak from. And here's what's actually keeping you stuck. If your worth depends on being accepted, then your perspective is only valuable if it gets accepted, which means you can't just say what you think. You have to say what will be accepted. You're not trying to express yourself. You're trying to perform acceptance seeking. And that's why you freeze, because you're trying to do two contradictory things at once: be authentic and guarantee acceptance. Every time you speak, you're running this impossible calculation. What do I actually think? Plus, what will be accepted? Plus, how do I make those two things the same? And when they're not the same, when what you actually think might not be accepted, you're stuck. You can't just say what you think because that might risk rejection, but you can't just say what will be accepted because that's not actually you. So you freeze, or you water it down, or you say nothing at all because you're trying to solve the unsolvable problem: how to be yourself while guaranteeing yourself will still be accepted. But here's what has to shift. You have to separate your worth from your performance. Right now, they collapse together. If you speak and it's wrong, you're wrong. If you say something stupid, you're stupid. If your perspective isn't valued, you're not valuable. You can say something wrong and still be valuable. You can speak imperfectly and still be legitimate. You can share a perspective that gets dismissed and still be worthy of taking up space. Your worth exists independently of how well you can express yourself. And until you can internalize that, until you can speak and have it go badly and still know you're okay, you're going to be stuck trying to guarantee an outcome that doesn't exist. You have to stop trying to solve the impossible equation. Stop trying to be authentic and guaranteeing acceptance. Because what you're really doing when you stay silent isn't protecting yourself from rejection. You're avoiding the fundamental test. Can I exist as myself and be okay? And as long as you never test it, you'll never know, which means you'll keep operating from the assumption that the answer is no, that you can't be yourself and be accepted, that your real self is fundamentally unacceptable. And that assumption will run your entire life. Every silence reinforces it. Every time you don't speak, you're confirming it to yourself. But you've never actually tested it. You've just decided in advance. And the longer you avoid testing it, the more your life becomes organized around a belief that you've never actually verified. And here's what happens when you do finally test it. Sometimes people don't accept it. Sometimes they judge. Sometimes your perspective gets dismissed, but you survive it. You're still here. Your worth doesn't disappear, which means the belief that you need constant acceptance to be okay starts to crack because you have evidence now. Evidence that you can be visible, be rejected, and still exist and be okay. And the evidence is what shifts the nervous system. Just repeated proof that the thing that you've been afraid of isn't actually as catastrophic as your system believes. So here's how you start testing it. Pick the lowest stake situation you can find. Not a work meeting, not a vulnerable conversation with someone whose opinion deeply matters. Just start small. Maybe it's just setting a preference about where you want to eat. Maybe it's just saying, actually, I don't agree with that, or I don't think that's true about something factual. Say the thing, the real thing, not the performed thing, not the thing that you think will be accepted, just what you actually think. And then, this is the important part, notice that you survive it. Sometimes people won't agree. Sometimes they'll push back. Sometimes your perspective will be dismissed. But you're still here. Your worth doesn't disappear. You didn't get rejected from existence. You had a moment of being visible as yourself, and the world kept turning. And that's when your voice becomes accessible. You can be wrong, be corrected, be imperfect, and none of it threatens your fundamental sense of being okay. You don't have to wait until you feel confident to start. You don't have to be certain before you speak. You don't have to guarantee acceptance before you show up. You just have to be willing to be visible, to test it, and to survive it. And every time you do, you're proving to yourself, I can exist as I am, and I'm still okay. And that's how you find your voice, by being willing to be seen, be imperfect, be yourself, and discovering that your worth was never actually on the line. It was always there. You just had to stop making it conditional to realize it.